Hi everybody, welcome back to the video series. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about protein. I love protein. You guys love protein? So I'll be talking to you about protein. I'll give you just a quick rundown of what protein is, how much to take, when to take it, the different brands or the different types of protein out there on the market, and just to give you an idea of protein in general. And I'll give you more or less a practical perspective of protein, how to use it to get results. A lot of crap out there, a lot of BS out there, and I've decided just to keep the video short and just tell you exactly what you need when it comes to protein. So what is protein? Protein is one of the macronutrients that you need. So there's protein, carbohydrate, and fat. So we're starting this little section of the course off by talking about protein first. Now, every cell in the body requires protein. When cells die and get replaced, protein is required in part of that process of building those cells. And also hormones and enzymes in your body require protein. Your nails and your hair all made of protein, right? Not just muscles. A lot of people think it's all about muscles when it comes to protein. That's not true. I used to think that too, but protein's used everywhere in the body and a lot more places than what people think. But ultimately, what we're concerned about in this course is protein for building muscle. So the question that I usually get is it best to get protein from whole foods versus protein powder, which is best? I always tell people to go with protein first and foremost, get it from whole foods first, and then supplement with protein powder. And the reason why you want to do that is because ultimately, when it comes to the overall health and well-being of your life, you want to try and get most of your food from whole nutritious foods first and foremost. The reality is that if you're training in the gym and you're lifting weights on a regular basis, your protein requirements are going to be scaled higher compared to somebody who's sitting on the couch all day. So therefore, trying to get all of your protein requirements from whole food sources is a freaking challenge. Like, you can do it, but it's really challenging for a lot of people that live a busy life. I don't know about you guys, but I live a busy life. I don't live in the gym. So I don't have time to sit down and eat food all day that contains high levels of protein. So that's when supplementing with protein powder becomes almost essential. You don't have to. You don't have to take protein powder to build muscle, but it helps a lot. It's very convenient to do it that way. Some people say, well, protein powder is not real food. It is real food in that it contains calories and will help you reach your goals in building muscle or preserving muscle if you're trying to lose fat. But ultimately, it's a processed food. So, if it comes in a powdered form, it's been processed. So when people say it's not a real food, then I guess they're correct because it has been processed. So bottom line is get most of your protein from whole foods first, then supplement the remaining part of your protein requirements from supplemental protein powder. So to give you contrast, 100 grams of chicken contains 20 grams of protein. So if you're on 150, 160, 180, 200 grams of protein every day, it's going to be really challenging to get all of that protein by chicken alone or by red meat or by eggs. Each egg contains approximately 6 grams of protein. Imagine trying to get 180 grams of protein with eggs, chicken, fish. You get the picture, right? So try and get 50, 60, 70% of your protein from, whole foods and then get the rest from protein powder. So it's great for convenience. If I read my notes on your screen here, it's great for convenience so you can hit your target numbers of getting enough protein every day. And it's also great if you're building a meal plan where you can use supplemental protein. You know precisely how much protein you're getting. And usually protein powders contain low levels of fat and carbohydrate. So it's great from a meal planning perspective. So in terms of what's the best protein powder to buy, it's a common question I get. Depends on you. Really, it does. Some people can't consume dairy products because they're lactose intolerant. So therefore, any protein powder that has lactose in it is out of bounds. So therefore, a plant-based protein like soy, hemp, pea, rice will be something to look into. Whereas, if you're mildly lactose intolerant, and I've seen these people as well, you might fare well with a more refined form of whey protein like a whey protein isolate or WPI, whey protein isolate or whey protein or hydrolyzed whey protein. I talk more about this whey protein stuff in my whey protein course, so I'll just touch on it now. Some people prefer to go with whey proteins or protein powders that don't have any artificial sweeteners, protein powders that have been naturally sweetened with stevia and so forth. Some people prefer to go with the cheapest form of protein. Some people prefer to go with protein that's more results-based, where they don't care about price, they just want to get the results. Now, it's up to you. I suggest to people really try, if you're just doing this for the first time, ultimately protein powder, the biggest concern is getting enough protein. That's the bottom line of all of this. Like, don't be too concerned about whether you should have this protein powder or this protein powder should have this one, which one's the best one. Don't get caught up in that whole discussion. It's a huge debate topic. You don't need to get into that. You just need to think, okay, how much protein do I need every day? I need to try and get that much protein every day. Try and get it from whole foods first, and then supplement with protein powder. Experiment a little bit. Try different types of protein powder. Try egg, try casein, try whey, try hemp, pea, rice, to see how it fits with you, how it suits in your stomach, whether you feel bloated and that kind of, and then just make adjustments from there and just experiment a little bit. Okay. So, but I'll talk to you about the different types of protein powders just to steer you in the general direction of where to start experimenting. So if we go to the next slide, we'll talk about whey protein. Now, what is it? Whey is the byproduct of the cheese making process. It's a dairy type or a dairy-based protein product. So that means that if you're lactose intolerant, you probably don't want to go with whey. However, you want to maybe try a more refined, a more processed form of whey protein called whey protein isolate or hydrolyzed whey protein, as I mentioned just before. That may actually help you, absorb the whey if you're lactose intolerant, if you're mildly lactose intolerant. Whey protein is the most popular form of protein powder on the market. It's, from the supplement point of view, it's a very competitive product out there. So therefore it's very cheap to buy. And it's also very effective. It has a very strong amino acid profile because we have protein, which is made up of amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So the building blocks of whey protein are very strong and very effective when it comes to building muscle. So whey protein is usually the protein of choice for a lot of bodybuilders out there, a lot of fitness models, even guys that just want to build some muscle, lose some fat. Whey protein is relatively inexpensive. It's very convenient. There's lots of different flavors out there. So there's a huge flavor variety out there. Mixes very well, absorbs very quickly, and it's usually taken after a workout. And it's the reason why whey protein is the choice of all protein powders post-workout is because it's absorbed relatively quickly into the bloodstream, therefore goes to work on your muscles almost immediately. When I say immediately, we're talking 20, 30 minutes is when we see, maximum muscle protein synthesis by taking whey protein. So how much should you take? Now, research usually says that in terms of whey protein, you can take anywhere from 20 grams up to about 50 grams of whey protein in a single serve to reach maximum muscle protein synthesis. And that's in any one particular serve. Research varies. So usually the elderly or older people usually require a bit more protein to have the same protein synthesis effects as someone in their 20s. But usually 20 to 50 grams, you can take 20 grams, 40, 50 grams in one particular serve of whey protein, or usually any type of protein. 20 to 50 grams in a single serve is completely fine, won't damage your organs, right? There's research out there that confirms that unless you have, now if you have renal conditions and that kind of thing or liver problems, then there is recommendations, to generally keep your, protein intakes low or your dosing low. Most people don't have that problem though. So I can send you the research on that too. So that's a general rundown of whey protein. Very popular to have post-workout and pre-workout as well. So 30 minutes before you work out, 30 minutes after, within 30 minutes after you work out, 20 to 50 grams of whey protein, and also good value for money as well. Casein protein, so casein is the other type of protein found in dairy, in milk. So we have whey and we have casein. And essentially, which one's better, whey or casein? There's a huge debate in the community about which one's better. Ultimately, some guys take casein post-workout, and some people don't take whey, they only take casein. And that's completely fine. Casein does take longer to burn in the body, so therefore it takes a little bit longer for, the maximum muscle protein synthesis to occur, so that if you imagine a graph, that muscle protein synthesis takes a little bit longer. It doesn't reach as high. It does eventually, but then it levels off and it burns much slower than whey protein. So casein's a great form of protein. I personally don't like it because of the way it doesn't mix very well, and I like a protein that mixes quite well. But I'm not saying it's a bad protein. It's a fantastic protein. A lot of bodybuilders take casein protein. Some swear by taking casein post-workout. It doesn't really matter if you take whey or casein post-workout. Ultimately, what it means is that casein will burn longer or essentially will remain in your bloodstream longer and will cause muscle protein synthesis to last longer. If you're lactose intolerant, then I suggest, if you're severely lactose intolerant, then I suggest staying away from whey and casein protein and maybe trying egg protein. If you're allergic to eggs as well, then you'll have to go to a plant-based protein. So egg protein, powdered egg whites. So we're talking this right here. This is the one that I usually take. This company is not sponsoring me, by the way. But this is usually how you'll find egg protein. And if we have a look, essentially it doesn't smell very nice. It's just egg whites that have been grounded down into a powder form. And so you'll find that it doesn't taste very good. Egg protein is a fantastic form of protein though. As you see on your screen, it has a bioavailability of 100. So it's literally at the very top of the scale. And it's usually the standard by which other proteins are compared against. It's because egg protein is a complete source of protein, so it contains all the essential amino acids. It contains, a lot of vitamins and minerals and everything else. So I'm just reading through my notes here. So one egg contains 6 grams of protein. So if you're taking, eggs, so we have the yolk and the white. So usually there's 3 grams of protein in the yolk and 3 grams in the white. So usually, as I said, egg protein is usually egg whites. And so, to get the equivalent of 8 eggs in one serve, will give you 24 grams of egg protein in one single serve, which is essentially 8 eggs multiplied by 3 grams of protein, which is 24 grams. So every serve of this will give me 24 grams of egg white protein. So I hope that makes sense. But there are different types of egg brands out there, egg protein brands out there. And a lot of guys will usually go the egg white protein as opposed to having raw eggs because, the yolk contains the fat, whereas the whites virtually contain no fat, no lactose.